Welcome to episode 5 of Box Score Sports. I'm your host, Austin Berge. And to the right of me, I got the mouthiest sophomore known to mankind, Aiden Mueller. We got Walker behind the mic, and we got Taylor Nelson producing this podcast, and let's get rolling. We got a very special guest this episode. If you see a guy running full speed down the sideline, you know it's Randy Olson, the heart and soul of the BB community. Nice to have you.
Yes,
Yes.
To start it off, what's a day in the life of Randy Olson?
Well, you kind of just described it, actually, in a nutshell. Sprinting, dead sprints a lot of the time. I make good lists every day, and almost every hour I'm changing them, but I make lists, I stick with them, and get everything done. There's always about 58 things to do at any given time. And if I don't keep a fast pace, when I'm in work mode, it doesn't work. I work best working fast.
You're a busy guy.
Yes.
Did you play any sports when you were in high school?
Track 1 year. That was it.
Why do you quit? Or
I didn't think I was any good. I made that mistake.
Oh, you are good. You've proven it.
Well, right. Yeah, it didn't stick. And I think it's a lesson to kids that, you know, if it doesn't stick, I mean, unless you really totally dislike it, stay with it and work at it. And you know what? You don't have to be, especially, well, in any sport, you don't have to be a rock star. Mm-hmm. You're always going to find some purpose someplace. And I just think, yeah, what could have been?
I think it's important for kids to be in a sport or activity.
Absolutely. It kills me seeing kids flood out of the school, and a lot of them are in activities, so maybe that day they're not in one, but you know, I can sit here after school and just see a swath of kids that I know they're not in hardly any activities, and it kills me. And they are missing the boat. So we, as coaching staffs and as school workers and as students on teams, you know, we all have to push in the direction of getting people involved. And I do like that the schools it works as best they can on limited resources to have a variety of activities. For example, I was excited a couple years ago when they started esports. I know that's becoming much more common. You look at colleges, they have esports teams. There's a lot of junior colleges now. You go to their athletic website and they maybe have soccer, volleyball, basketball, and there's esports. You know, we've got clay trap shooting, which ironically, if you look at the clay trap rosters, there's a lot of multi-sport kids on those teams, but there's a few that might be their only one of only a couple activities they're in. So that was a big addition, very popular in a hunting community with great hunting culture. So I think it's a reflection of that kids have the apathy that they aren't in anything, but I think the onus is on us. It's kind of the burden falls on us to try and reach out and get kids involved. I've pushed my oldest daughter she's worked to increase turnout in tennis. We are in the process of rebuilding girls golf. They had pretty, I'd say, limited success last year having JV golfers out there. They had 4 on the official roster, and they enjoyed quote unquote traveling around with the boys JV golfers. That made for some interesting stories. But yeah, it's on us to try and get people involved in activities.
Do you think these activities bring up good life lessons?
Definitely. When I was in a lot of activities in high school, it's time management. Time management's a big thing that I use. You use the rest of your life, and I use. But what I see with kids and I'm on the front line watching in all these different sports is you learn how to control your temper. you learn how to put on a game face, and you learn how to go to work maybe when you don't want to give your best effort, or you're feeling out of it, but you still got to go to practice. And yes, coaches expect 110% in practice. So that translates into life. I mean, yeah, there's days where I have work that I don't enjoy, but you have to do it. And you learn that being in a sports team and being in an activity, how to push through the days when you just don't want to, but you have to. And it's, as a kid, this all just kind of falls on deaf ears. It's hard to really understand because you don't know the pressure of it is as an adult or as a parent. You have to push through the days where life just kind of sucks even, and you got to give it your best. You still got to do your best.
Yeah. What inspired you to be a journalist?
Cash. Cold cash. It was I was working at home. I was farming with mom and dad. I was a couple years out of college. I flirted with kind of a failed ideas in politics in the early 2000s, and it was August of 2003. I'll never forget going on newspaper websites and looking for work, looking for whatever was available. And back then, yeah, that was one way to quickly find what's in the area. And I stumbled on the Sauk Center Herald website, and they were looking for a sports writer. And it was perfect because they wanted to expand into a BBE. They already had developed some BBE coverage, but I was perfect because I knew everyone. At the time, Paul Boning was head football coach. Mimi Knutson was head volleyball, and it worked perfect for me to cover their 2003 fall seasons. I could tell you everything you want to know about either of those teams that fall, but we don't have enough time to probably do that. But I could go all the way back to 2003, and I vividly remember those teams. They were my first teams, and now a lot of those kids have kids in school, and even up as high as the varsity level, which is crazy.
You've been doing it for a while.
Yeah.
How has the sports coverage changed kind of the past since 2000?
Well, in 2003, funny you mentioned that, that fall I ran around with a film camera, a big old film camera with a big flash, similar to what I have when I have but it was bigger, heavier, bulkier, and it had film. So I learned how to shoot with film, and you shoot so many, and then you got to throw another roll in, and then bring it back to the office, let them develop it. And that was a big change to graduate from that to digital. But that's how old I am, that I shot sports with film cameras. But otherwise, yeah, you had the notebook. I don't think I didn't have laptops then, but I did not start putting my work online until 3 years later, the fall of 2006. And I'll never forget that team. I was trying to generate hype for the team. I mean, kind of like you do with this, to generate hype for the school. It was in the fall, and we were actually in the running for a home playoff game, which was, you could count on one hand up to that point how many BB football teams had home playoff games. So I started it, I think week 6 or 7. It was, I think the week we went to Howard Lake, lost 28-6, and kind of put a dash in our home playoff outlook. And long story short, we finished 2-6, but because of strength of schedule, we got a first round home playoff game. I think we were the 4 seed. We destroyed Ortonville 53-19, and then came KMS. So that's when I really got excited, because I actually knew at the time a lot of people at KMS, so I really hyped that game up. And it was a battle. We were ahead 7-6 at halftime in Murdoch, and we lost or how was it? Or did we lose 14-6? I'd have to look that up exactly. But we lost 14-6 or 14-7. Heartbreaker.
How do you think high school sports influence the community? Like,
Well, you look at BBE. It's a big part of our culture and our communities. It gives people something to look forward to. Gives people something to talk about. Besides the weather, besides the economy. Lately the small town economies have been a little tough out there for businesses. So it does give people something exciting to talk about. That's not the weather or. What are topics now we talk? Well, now it's hunting season, so that's something you shoot the breeze on. But yeah, more than just something to talk about, it gives you something to unite us and to bring us all together from different backgrounds. And a lot of us are, some of us are transplants from other parts of the Minnesota or the country, and here we are working together and. It gives us a kind of a common purpose each week.
Yep. Something fun for BB.
Yeah, it's sports. The sports seasons run, you're looking at, on the high end, 10, it goes till middle of June, and by middle of August, you're restarting. So it's really 10 months of the year straight.
What are some of your favorite events over the past years that you've covered?
Well, for sure, a year ago now, that's got to rank up there easily. A top 5, of course, playing at the bank. In spite of the game, it was quite a fun experience. And what's exciting is, in this case, in this year, it does give us a drive. It gives the team a drive and a goal. And we've been there. It's not just an idea. Kind of like back in the day, it actually used to be the Fargo Dome. When I was a sophomore in high school, we had Fargo Dome on our mind, and they were stung in the section semifinals that fall. But I remembered when that was almost a dream, and we've now achieved that. This will be our 3rd trip there. So the bank for sure. 2 state boys basketball championships earlier last decade. That was giant. I'm old enough to remember. I can repeat them all. I'm pretty sure I can recite the scores of 4 boys basketball section final losses. And I'll never forget, after that 4th one in 2005, thinking we lost 58-56. They lost we were up 54-46 going into the 4th quarter. And I can't remember what happened that 4th quarter. I'm sure part of it was shooting went dry, but we had a 9-point second half lead, and they lost 58-56 at Minnewaska. And I just thought, this is crazy. Will we ever go to state? Now, little did I know at the time, they were, what were they in? Third grade. No, they would have been second or third grade, that the class of 2014. Take 9 off 12. Yeah, 3rd grade. They were coming up the ranks. They were just a year or 2 away from starting to really make a wave in their upper elementary years. But I didn't know any of them. In fact, I didn't even know any of the good ones in 2005. I didn't know they were coming up. Lindsay was still in middle school, the oldest. So, yeah, I'll never forget the drive home from Minnewaska, just feeling that we're cursed. We have all these good teams. We had Coach Montbryan, a wonderful coach, and there we were, 0-4 in state qualifiers. But then, you look back. You wouldn't change any of it. The fact that we won 2 state titles, you wouldn't change any of that in the build up to that, because that's a special thing that very few schools can say they've done in any sport. And I got to say another one quick is certainly wrestling. The 4 straight state trips. Got another pretty good team coming. I count 7 football, out of the 7 of the 16 seniors, I look at them as basically they should be wrestling starters. You look 7 out of 13 weight classes being seniors. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, girls basketball, state final run in the COVID year. Coach Christine Anderson has a dynamite program there. But, I mean, even the little things, remembering some tennis wins when they're hard to come by, those things stand out where a girl guts out a 2.5 hour match to clinch that 4th point. I mean, those things are special. Golf, baseball, we've got a wonderful baseball program, good youth baseball. So yeah, those are the things that float to the top.
What's the most rewarding about doing all this and covering all these activities?
Well, there's, I think about that a lot, especially now with kids, with my own daughters in sports. But, it's rewarding to see, obviously the cliche thing is to say that to see the hard work pay off. But, I mean, there's times where maybe a kid, maybe something happens in their family, a tragedy or something, and you see them come back from it, or they're playing for a role model, or they're playing for an older mentor that they looked up to, and you just see the special, what do you want to say, the inspiration for younger kids to improve themselves. I mean, we see that now in wrestling. Any of us can talk to wrestlers, and they'll easily talk about. Now we look up to Maximus Hansen, 2-time state champ. Walker Bentz was a 2-time state champ, and there's many others, of course, going over the years. Coach Adam Yeager, who's now pushing into a career in healthcare, away from wrestling. But those we have you look now of all the. My own daughter, my youngest daughter looks up to Abby Berge, huge role, and all of her classmates. My other daughter looks up to Tiana Stringhammer, and vice versa. So, with all the success we've had, I mean, the younger kids maybe don't even understand that they have a lot of great role models to look up to.
What advice would you give to someone starting in a journalist?
Learn how to write and work very hard in English. I was set up in this building on that side of the library. Over there, yep. Over there was the English wing back in the day, junior high English. When this was a junior high, grades 7 through 9 campus where we're sitting, that's where I got set up, was in junior high English, 7th and 8th grade English. Had Mrs. Dorothy Anderson, greatest English teacher on earth. And then I had other great English teachers, Mrs. Otterness, Mrs. Carol Sanders, and so on. And I was in theater. I think that was a big part of it, being in plays, being on stage, facing that pressure, because there's a lot of pressure in writing for journalism. It's not just writing a book or writing a story for whatever. It's there's deadlines and it's a lot of pressure. I'm stringing together probably 7 or 8 stories right now, getting them ready for press. But when you made the call, I had to say yes. I couldn't say no.
You adjusted.
I adjusted, yeah.
You got a busy schedule.
Yeah. Today's I got 3 o'clock. I get cleaned up and showered up for tonight. We head out at Wheels Up at 4 p.m. for Fergus Falls.
Hopefully they win, and then you got.
Yeah, I want good problems ahead of me. I want a lot of traveling, and I want to be looking at this state bracket and that state bracket, but can't do that yet. You can't look ahead.
Oh.
Right now, it's all about tonight and beating West Central area.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's all we got, Randy.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks
Well, good.
Stay tuned for next week.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see how this looks and who you got coming on next week. So this is the 6th, I think.
The 5th.
Fifth show. Okay, very good. Well, thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Good luck on Friday.
Yeah, thank you.